if you are not new to this channel, you know that out of all the beading needle sizes, I'm actually a fan of the size 10 beading needle. Hello dressmakers and friends, it's another sit down time to talk. I know it's been a while you guys seen my face, and I'm glad to be here right on your screen this day. So I hope we're doing well. We've all seen the topic on the thumbnail. Today we are going to be discussing everything beading needles and everything thread. When it comes to embellishing your dresses, what do you need? So let's get into it. Beading needles are quite different from the regular hand needle because of the forms of beads and how they come in. We see that the holes that are in beads are usually smaller for those in beads like seed beads, sand beads, and the likes. But although for other beads we have holes like pearls, there are pearls that you can actually use your hand beading needle. But we know that we cannot rely on our hand beading needle. And how do you recognize a beading needle when you see one in the market? And I'm just going to really show you that quickly now. In case you see me looking down, I'm actually looking at my beading materials which are already arranged on my table right here, and just so that this teaching can actually be seamless. Okay, so this is actually what beading needles look like. All right, beading needles comes in different sizes, and then in your region, in your country, your brand may be slightly different from this. I have here size 10, size 11, and size 12. Okay, if you are not new to this channel, you know that out of all the beading needle sizes, I'm actually a fan of the size 10 beading needle, because the size 10 beading needle is actually like really thin enough to pass through any kind of beads, whether your seed beads or sand beads, no matter their size. Even if it's size 1, 2, or 3, it's thin enough to pass through. Okay, and the O, which is the eye of the needle, is also like wide enough for you to, like, you can easily thread it. Okay, so I'm just going to bring one out so that we can see. Now take a look. This is what this is. So the eye of this beading needle is actually wide enough for like my regular thread to be able to pass through, and also for any thread to be able to pass through. This is just good enough. But you can also choose other sizes, like the size 11 is like tinier than the size 10, and the size 12 is like tinier than the size 11. So you can just feel free to choose any size that you want to work with in the market. Okay, one thing about the size 12 is because it's really tiny, it can like easily get broken in the course of a job, and sometimes when you are beading you may need to like start or join the threader just to avoid that. And that is why I just sometimes stick to the size 11, but my favorite of all time is the size 10 beading needle. All right, so aside of these beading needles, there's also the curved beading needles. This comes in a pack like this. Like if you get to your regular sewing supply market, just tell them curved beading needle, they are going to give you something like this. It comes in like 4-in-1 pack, just like this. This helps to like bead those points that are really tiny. It goes into like those tiny parts, or to those tiny parts of the dress that you want to embellish. So I really recommend this for anyone. You can invest in this, you will really get the value for your money. Okay, so and for beading needles, you want to know the difference between this. Like if you take a look at this faucet, you can see that this first, which is the smaller one, is also like tinier than the last one right here. So you also have to consider the size of the beads that you're working with before you decide on which of this size you want to go with. Okay, this is tiny and this is bigger. All right, so feel free to go with the choice depending on the size of the beads that you're working with. All right, for pearl beads, those have wider holes, but for seed beads, those are like really tiny. So ensure that you are aware of the size of bead. Try to pass the needle into the beads before you start working, so that it's not that the needle is able to pick some beads and the needle is not able to pick other beads. Okay, I think there is also size 9 for these beading needles, but I think size 9 is like a little bit thicker than the size 10. All right, that may pass through some beads are not able to pass through some other beads. So you can just go ahead, even if you have the size 9, try it on the beads that you are working with. If it pass through, then that's why you can go ahead to use it. All right, but if it doesn't, you just have to choose like another size that is appropriate for the work that you are doing. Okay, but there's this beading needle here I also want you to see. This is, I'm not sure about the size, I just saw this in the market and I got it. This is like longer. All right, I'm just going to bring one out for us to see now. This is like a longer needle. Like this is just a new pack. I've not even taken anything out of it, but I'm just going to bring one out so we can see how long this is. Like this is very, like really long. This is really long, and we can see that this is actually for special jobs. Okay, if you need a very long needle to work with, this is something that you should definitely consider. Okay, so you can just let me just leave it us here so that we can just take a screenshot of this. We can then take it to the market to like ask of it. Like I said, I'm not sure about the size, but I hope you've been able to take the screenshots. And all right, so that's it. Up next, we're going to be talking about everything that has to do with the beading thread. Okay, there are several types of beading threads. We have the invisible thread, we have like the polyester thread, which is like the normal sewing thread that we use in sewing. Then we also have fishing line. All right, so I'm just going to show us everything quickly. Okay, so this is what the invisible thread looks like. Okay, so they usually come in like majorly. I've seen these two colors really common. I don't know if you have other colors in your region, in your country. Please comment down below. I would like to know if there are other colors of this. But if you take a look at this, this is like almost invisible. I'm just going to bring it out so that we can really see. Okay, this is like almost invisible. Like, take a look at how thin this is. I'm sure that we might not even see this. So this is why. Okay, I'm sure we can see it right now. So this is like, okay, so it's clear now. So this is like almost invisible, and that is why we refer to it as invisible thread. Okay, but now if you are working with fabrics like illusion nets to something that you want like a skin effect, you don't really want to show too much, you can go for this invisible thread. Okay, so for illusion nets that are like skin tone, you can use this one. They are really like almost invisible. And for illusion net that are color that are close to black, you can go ahead to use this one. All of these supplies that I'm showing you right now, you can just get it in your local market, okay, where you buy sewing materials and all of that. So up next, this is what I refer to as your normal polyester thread. Like, this is the normal sewing thread that we all use in sewing. Okay, so now we can actually use this normal sewing thread for beading as well. And like I said, they can actually pass through this needle. Okay, so it's totally fine for you. It's just that with the needles like size 12 and size 11, it may take a little while for you to be able to thread it. But aside that, it's totally fine. You can also use this thread on this beading needle as well. And then you can also use the invisible thread on this beading needle as well. So it's totally fine. You can go ahead to do your thing. All right. Now for the fishing line is something that we can use when we are working with heavier beads. Okay, when you're working with teardrop beads, like droplet, like I said, if you need a little bit of guide on beads and what they look like and how you can get beads, I have a video on my channel where that everything that has to do with beading materials and supplies. Do well to check out that video. I'm going to link it below in this description so that you can also see, and I'm also going to link it somewhere up here so for you to see. Okay, so now this is point 0.25 millimeter. All right, and I can also tell you that this comes in different. Can we see this? Well, this is actually 0.25 millimeter. There's 0.3. There's also 0.4 and 0.5. So it just depends on how thick you want it. 0.4 is like thicker than 0.3 and 0.5 is thicker than 0.5. So just like that. So when you get to where you want to buy these beading supplies, do well to ask them, and you also want to consider the size of beads that you're using them with. When you're working with something like droplets are beads that are a little bit heavier and they hang on the thread. You can go ahead to then use something like fishing line. As a matter of fact, that is the time where I use this fishing line because they are like more stable to withstand the weight of the beads. All right, so that is that for fishing line. All right, so if you have any questions, please do well to drop me the questions in the comments. You guys know I love to always interact with you, and I will be here to answer your questions anytime. All right, I hope you have had a good time on this session again today. I would like to see us again in the next video. Thank you for being with me again on today's all about beading threads and beading needles. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.